right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Earnhardt Experience, motherfucking episode 16, baby! Woo! And I also want to give a shout out to my, 701 or 702 subscribers, my true fans and followers, and to my haters, y'all already know, keep drinking that haterade and kiss my ass because I'm staying powerful. Woo! Anywho, we got a special guest today, ladies and gentlemen. We got none other than our own lovely Canadian brother right here, Matthias Bedard.
Powerful.
Let's go. Thank you for coming on to the show, man.
Gotta get the swag shot in. Oh, what was that? Can you see it all? There you go.
Oh, yeah. Mac. You know, I have not had the privilege of being able to arm wrestle on their table yet, and that would definitely be a privilege. I will say that.
Hey, that'll pull you out of retirement. Hey, a Mac table, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Somebody brings me out of retirement with some cash on it and stuff. Like, yeah, come to Canada, baby. We love you, Eric Harlan. Yeah. We love Earnhardt. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, one of the three events, the first one was actually in the States. The first one was in Rochester, New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So first one was in Rochester, and then the following two were in Toronto.
Now, I think it was a Mac, or it was a Canadian. It was definitely a Canadian promotion because Devin Laird was like heading it in the pre-conference and everything. But was it? I think it was a Mac event that had Sarah Backman versus Jocelyn Brisson last year.
No,
that was AWC. Was that what it was?
No, Jocelyn and Sarah. They made it a tournament in the States, right? I forget the tournament that they went, but they just did it again in East versus West.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. My bad. Yes, you're totally right. It was the unfortunate. We
had Heidi versus Jocelyn at Mac.
Yeah, Heidi. Yeah, which was a fucking joke in my opinion, because that happened after Jocelyn Brisson crushed Sarah Backman in the round robin that the whatchamacallit league that had a fuck up and didn't pay the athletes or whatever last year. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I've been retired for too long. What can I say?
I wouldn't.
But I will say this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you followed the FAL, with was it Brandon Morrison, right, heading it, and then they broke off, and then they had the Flow Arm Combat shit. Right before that round robin with the ladies, I had my money on Jocelyn Brisson beating Sarah Backman, and sure enough, I was right. The problem is when I chimed in on the live with Brandon Morrison, he was wanting to bet money. And honestly, I only had like a couple bucks on my card. I should have went in on that. And damn enough, I was right because Jocelyn Brisson again. I mean, for real.
She's a beast, right? Like
Jocelyn Brisson against Sarah Backman again at East versus West 17. I mean, for real, Jocelyn Brisson. You got your camera time. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I know my arm wrestling in that sphere a little bit enough. I would say that, you telling me you could not get a better, more competitive female match than that. Jocelyn Brisson smacked fucking Sarah Backman against the wall on the first time they met. She didn't have nothing. And she thought, oh, I'm gonna get a few months. No, you got to take way more time than that to get ready for Jocelyn, because she is hunting for number one. And what I would like to see is Jocelyn Brisson and Gabby Vasconcelos, or even better, Who was that? It starts with egg leg or e leg, or it was that white, taller lady a couple of East versus West ago that just smashed Sarah Backman right handed. Egleg, or I forget her name.
Yeah, I don't know her name offhand, but yeah, she's a beast too.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so I want to give you some of the spotlight. I mean, obviously, you're my guest, so I know that you're basically a greenhorn in arm wrestling. Why don't you go ahead and let the people watching this and everything, let them know? So, when did you exactly start arm wrestling? And we'll just start there.
Yeah, when I think it's got to be close to 4 years ago now. But I essentially met Devin, and he was essentially the one that introduced me to the sport. So I don't know if you want me to go through the whole story or not, but the
Oh yeah, I
yeah, so
mean, we got a little bit of time,
yeah, so I was going again. Like I have crazy insomnia, right? So there's times where I just have a really hard time sleeping. So I'm up late. Anybody who knows me knows that if they're messaging me at like 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning, like I'm probably the guy that's gonna respond to you, right? Um, but yeah, I just had crazy insomnia one night, and I think it was like 3 a.m. or something like that, and I was looking at a bunch of random YouTube videos, and there was a video of Devin. And again, at the time, I kind of knew who Devin was. I didn't realize he lived just down the street from me or anything. But I didn't really know much about him, right? Like I didn't know much about like arm wrestling in general at the time. But I saw a video of him talking. I think he was talking about armbat, and I noticed in the background was a bridge that it looked like it was a bridge that was right down the street from my house. And so he was talking about armbat, and I had recently just worked on a business. Sorry, I'm gonna mute my phone here. I'd recently worked on a business that had a bunch of like location stuff built into it. So I kind of saw the crossover of what he was explaining with stuff that I've been working on in the past. I was like, oh, I'll check this app out. So I installed the app middle of the night, and then a couple minutes go by. I'm just kind of playing around with it, and I get a message in the app from Devin, like asking me, he's like, "Hey, who are you?" And I was like, "I don't know, just some guy living here, I'm just checking out the app." And then he's like, "Oh, call me right now." And he just texts me his cell phone
Bro.
number. And again at the time I'm like,
Bruh.
I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
here, but I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like it's 3 in the morning. I'm not up to any good. I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just give this random arm wrestling dude a call. so, so I call him up. I was like, yeah, hey man, yeah, what's up? And he, we started talking, and it turned out he actually used to work with my dad back in the day because my father was special forces as well. So they actually worked together.
Whoa. Are you kidding? No way.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
that's pretty cool.
So even funnier. So this is like going way back, and this is before I knew who Devin was or anything. But back in, I believe it was like end of high school, me and a bunch of my friends actually went through a phase where we're arm wrestling each other and just doing stupid stuff. And we were in my backyard, just drinking and arm wrestling and doing stupid things. And my dad actually came out and he's like, "Oh, hey guys, if you guys want to know anything about arm wrestling, like I work with this guy Devin, like he could probably teach you something." And we're just like, get out of here. What the fuck? We're like, get out of here. You don't know anybody. And then
yeah, because y'all didn't even know who he was.
No, I had no idea. But yeah, it turned out that that was actually the same Devin. Yeah, Devin Larratt. And yeah.
Wow.
But
small world, huh? Especially from somebody, as you told me personally in a conversation, this guy lives right down the road from you.
Yeah, it's literally like a 2-minute walk down the road. Yeah.
I mean, bruh.
Well, yeah. So
bruh, if I lived right down the street from somebody of that caliber, oh my God. You can only imagine what I would be wreaking havoc on in the arm wrestling community right now.
Yeah.
Because of my personality and then his personality. I mean, come on, man. He would have fucking whew.
Yeah, no, Devin's a really cool dude. But essentially, we chatted a little bit, and then he asked me if I was interested in, coming out to practice and whatnot. I was like, yeah, man, like let's go. And yeah, no, we became friends. I helped him with Armbet for a little bit, and yeah, now we're on the same arm wrestling team. And again,
Yeah, that's one thing. Just looking at your channel, man, that I've noticed is like some time ago, like over a year ago, you even got footage of the Razor, man, and
yeah,
he's somebody who I admire a little bit, and we kind of, with the retro shades, he's got his, I got mine. So I guess in a way you could say, I wouldn't say totally. I got my inspiration from two guys to get into this sport, and it was Toddzilla Hutchings and Tim Bresnan. And it was because
Razor.
yeah, no, I didn't know about him until fucking what, like 2+ years down the line, story wise, in my career in arm wrestling.
Yeah.
To be honest, but the reason why they inspired me is because at the age of 34, I had started my YouTube channel doing internet gaming with WWE 2K19 and then eventually 2K22. And I was a top 10 player. I mean, I have credentials to show this in one video where there was a person in the community, a young kid who lives in Oregon on the west side. He still has my name and we still talk to this day. It's been quite a few years now. And he's always like, man, you got to come back, this, that, and the third, because what it is I retired from that September of 2022. And then I embarked into the gym and everything. And then I started my arm wrestling career. My first arm wrestling equipment that I bought was an art arm. There were pink handles. Unfortunately, they were the only cheapest kind and the only color they had. I would have got black, but so like my excuse is, oh, I'm just supporting breast cancer, because of the color pink.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever, yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I love boobies. So, I mean, I even remember one time, even before this, when I worked for the chicken factory in Purdue, they had a breast cancer awareness thing. And I bought a t-shirt to, help with breast cancer, because I'm a man and I like, boobies, and ass and vagina too. But it's, neither here nor there. But anyways, so that it was perfect because like they were made of silicone and they were shaped like a hand that you could grab, and they were able to clamp on to like a single hand dumbbell, or you could clamp them on and do neutral grip pull-ups just like this, doing some Travis Bagent shit. Perfect shit to get that forearm and pronator pumped. And then also your lats and your pulling muscles in the back part, and your deltoids. But anyways, so that's where I got my beginning, was Tim Bresnan and Toddzilla Hutchings. I will say on a side note to both those gentlemen, well, I tell you, when you look up the guys who are hiring you and made men into the sport, they can really disappoint you, can't they?
What do you mean disappoint you? What do you mean?
I've had conversations, multiple conversations with Toddzilla. It's mostly been respectful for the most part. Like Tim Bresnan, I respect Tim Bresnan and stuff, but me and him had a falling out because I last year of July went to the SEC that was run by Sean Boom Hancock, and Tim Bresnan was the head ref. Now, here's the thing you got to understand about Tim Bresnan. And no arm wrestler wants a guy who's half blind and half deaf being the head ref of your fucking match. I mean, for real, but he's taken care of, and a lot of people care about him. He's kind of like this. And the sad part, not just to poke at him, but all of us as men, is we will eventually hit that, that sad point in our life where we're not like what we used to be. And Tim Breslin, I say this with all due respect, if you see or hear this, sweetheart, but you're probably not, because you want to break my head off my shoulders, you know.
See, I've met Tim Breslin.
But the reality is we were running on very strict rules, IFA rules. And I don't know if you've ever competed in a tournament with IFA rules, but they are very fucking strict. And I swear to God, one of the calls I was, kind of like curling in, trying to do the Devin Larratt shit and get everything I could, right? In a good position, because I mean, you want to, if you got the ref right here, right? So I'm over here. I'm definitely, you already know what it is. It's table intelligence. You're going to be trying to cup in or whatever you can get away with, because the guy who's over here and the ref is over here is going to be able to do this more to you than the guy over here, if you can understand that, right?
Sure.
I mean, Devin Larratt to tell you this, okay, and that's one of his dealios. Well, I got called it on the first time, and I will give Tim Breslin this. I was carving in, Tim McPherson, who's actually a in-law to Paul Passmore, who was the bottom ref, caught it, and you could see it because I do have explicit footage of that. But there was another call that Tim Breslin made where I was so limp. Like, I mean, I was even cracked back, and he still fucking called me. And I looked at him straight to his motherfucking eyes. I shook my head, and then I flicked him a bird, and then I walked away, and I told, as I was walking away off the stage, I told Sean Boom Hancock, you got to tell him to loosen up a little bit, because that was a bullshit fucking call, man. I only lost in that tournament off fouls. Nobody in that class could have held a candle to me. Yes, I had 2 drinks of whiskey, and I took two goody powders, and I was feeling great. Like, I was ready to go, and I turned up. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you already know, especially my followers, I wish I'd have had that whole motherfucking thing recorded, because, like, there was one guy who I do have and who's recorded on there who I've basically flashed. He was my first match, left-handed. And because of me turning up so much like I did and then eventually walking off stage, that son of a bitch started talking to me once I got off the stage. He was like, hey, man, you should do that right hand. I bet you can't beat me right-handed, and this, that, and third. And I'm like, and I just had to explain to him, I only had money for left hand, bro, or I would have done that, I would have liked to have done it. And then he proceeded to call me a bitch right in my face. This dude's smaller than me. I mean, if he'd have done that to me in prison, I would have had to react. But, we're in public, and God forbid I react and smack the shit out of him, and then I'm getting kicked out of the fucking tournament in between, when I'm trying to get a gold medal, which I did fucking win. And it was my first one in Georgia, and I was born in Augusta, Georgia. So
powerful.
And also, more importantly than myself, there's a guy by the name of Blake Moore, young kid, 22. He was like my Apollo Creed to Rocky.
Okay.
He was in arm wrestling too, and he was way stronger than me. He was on PEDs, come to find out, but that was the last tournament that he had competed in before he had died. So, it had a truly a deep meaning for me to do that. That was my first tournament, winning gold. That was my second tournament I've been to, because my first one was the FAL with Paul Italia and all them, and the FAL in September of 2023.
Okay.
But anyways, going back to you, right? All right. So you have started 4 years ago.
I think so.
You're
Around that. It's gotta be around
you're
that. Maybe
obviously
yeah.
spoon fed a little bit, jokingly.
I wish.
And
I was,
the
'cause then
reason
maybe
I say
I'd be a
that
little
is
bit
because you
better.
live right down the street from the dude. Like, don't get me wrong, I love John Brzenk more than I love Devin Larratt.
Yeah.
I will say that, but you're living right down the street from a big name in the fucking sport, and you get in good with him. But one thing I have found out, sir, is that before all this, you used to be a martial arts fighter,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've
combat
been.
sport fighter.
Yeah, that was my original career plan was essentially, do MMA professionally. But
All right, tell me some more about that.
well, I've done martial arts my whole life essentially. Like I did karate when I was a little kid, and then I went to kickboxing in my teenage years, and then there was a jiu-jitsu and kind of MMA gym, kind of in a gym where I was working out at the time in Carlton Place, and those guys kind of reeled me in. I did some jiu-jitsu and some, I guess, like MMA type training there, and then eventually I ended up at a small gym in Ottawa called Ronin MMA, which at the time was kind of like the Mecca. I would maybe like Mecca is not the right word, but it was a time when a lot of the really high level guys were kind of in that one
Okay,
place,
so
right?
you were in the right place at the right time, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, I only had 3 fights, unfortunately, but then I tore a ligament in my ankle, and so my right ankle. So I forget the name of the
Damn.
ligament, but it goes across, so it kind of holds your sideways stability. And I've had reconstructive surgery on it since, and I kept always wanting to go back and fight again, but I got involved in other businesses and other things kind of took, and I had a daughter, so other things kind of took priority in my life.
Let me ask you, just out of curiosity, what is your zodiac sign? Do you know what it is?
Zodiac sign, I guess Taurus.
Yeah.
I guess May, I think.
Oh man, Devin Larratt's a Taurus, and his son is a Capricorn, like me.
Yeah, see, I know nothing about that stuff. I know nothing about
Yeah,
that
it's okay. It's okay. I mean, whatever.
but yeah, no, like and I still miss it. Like every once in a while I still go back and train with some guys. And part of me would like to. Well, I seen like the bare knuckle MMA now and the bare knuckle boxing stuff they're doing, and I kind of would like to I'm kind of older now, but I would really like to do it. Like I think it would be fucking super cool. So
yeah.
But again, I don't know. It's a terrible idea, right? Like nothing good's gonna come from that. It's other than saying that, like, you're dumb enough.
I mean, as long, yeah. I mean, I must say this from a fighting standpoint: just get in there with somebody in your weight class and who's not terribly too taller than you. No offense, I love you, but
no, actually, I don't mind sparring and fighting against taller guys.
Because then you can swoop in there and ground and pound them, right?
Well, for MMA is very different. But I was even saying like even boxing and kickboxing, like a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm not very tall, right? Like I'm like 5'6" on a good day.
What was your key skill? Were you a guy who was able to get in there and get them like Hoist Gracie and bring them down to the ground and ground and pound or submit them, or were you better at striking on your feet?
So I think probably my stand-up was probably, I would say, better. But my grappling was very like basic, but very like solid fundamentals, right? So like very good control. And
Did you have any Greco-Roman style in there?
No, well,
where you grab. I forget what is it where they grab them by the head and then they're doing the knees and shit. Was that Muay Thai or?
Muay Thai. Yeah, no, for sure, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of Muay Thai.
Yeah. Did you have any Muay Thai skills where you could be able to do that?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
And then get them against the cage and start hitting them with the fucking elbows and then stomping the feet, because like I used to be watching that shit with my dad, back in the fucking was it Oh my God. Chuck Liddell, man. We loved watching Chuck Liddell
Yeah, no, he was a beast.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, man, oh my God, the middleweight champion. Like, he's a legend. Uh and then, of course, when Brock Lesnar got into the scene, I was definitely paying attention to that. Oh man, I mean, come on, man. His ground and pound is legendary. Like, I mean, from just a short distance, he was fucking up Frank Mir, like for
Yeah,
real.
but
Just a
with
short distance, just a little short, and then just he's on the ground and then you see Frank Mir once he finally gets off the ground, motherfucker looked like he took like quite a few licks just standing up. I
Brock
mean, the
Lesnar is an
dude's face
interesting.
looked like a fucking piece of meat, basically,
Yeah,
after
Brock,
one round.
Brock Lesnar is an interesting case, right? Because he did have really good like wrestling fundamentals, but
Oh, yeah.
he was a glass cannon, right? So like he could generate a lot of force because of like his build, and obviously he's just a really big, strong guy, right? Like PEDs
Oh,
are
yeah.
not, like I think he's kind of built a little bit different, right? But the problem was
I don't know about that because I do know a lot about Brock Lesnar, and I would argue that he may have been possibly coming off PEDs and stuff, but I still would probably argue. I mean, come on, if you're a high level player in any sport, WWE or whatever, and then you're connected to all these doctors who are intelligent on be able to give you PEDs, and then it slides through, the testings and shit. I
yeah,
mean, you can only imagine the shit that he was still on. I mean, obviously, when he
he
did
was
go into
never
UFC, he
no,
was smaller.
yeah,
He
but he was
looked
never a clean
flabby a
athlete.
little bit,
No, he wasn't.
subtly and stuff.
Yeah, I don't
But
think he was ever a clean athlete. Because
yeah,
like once you're taking certain things to get a certain size and maintain that strength, right?
yeah,
You're gonna have some of that regardless on what you're going off or not. But
yeah,
even well, he did pop hot when he fought. I think it was Mark Hunt, right? Like he failed his drug test there. But no,
yeah,
MMA at a high level, like there's a lot of PED use, right? And it's when it becomes your career path, right? And it's like, winning and losing fights becomes very, very important. Those are now decisions that you're making on a financial basis, not just a health basis, right?
yeah.
But
It obviously did afford him a lot, though, to have that extensive background in amateur arm wrestling and stuff like that. And what have you.
who,
So,
Brock Lesnar did amateur arm
oh
wrestling?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, he
Oh, I
was a
didn't know
big,
that. I didn't know that.
yeah, he was a big time uh college state level. I mean,
I
he
mean
was the
regular wrestling,
best.
not arm wrestling, regular wrestling.
Yeah, regular wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it did help him a lot in that sphere because I remember seeing pictures of him when he was way smaller and almost unidentifiable, when you watch his biographies and certain biographies that are out there for you to watch on Peacock and whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And then seeing how quickly he progressed and being a farm boy and everything. I'm telling you, farm work is nothing to play with because I baled hay one time and that shit is back breaking because like that. Oh my God. I've done it one time and that was it. I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
They need to get a machine to do this crap because I mean 70 plus pounds worth of bale and you got to toss that shit to this, that, and the third, stack it up and everything off a semi. Fuck that, man.
Yeah, I've stacked some. But yeah, going back to Brock Lesnar, like I think wrestling, in my opinion, it's probably the most important base for combat, right? Because it allows you. I'm sure people have said it a million times, but it allows you control
Oh
where
yeah.
it's going, and I think judo to some extent as well. But I think judo, not everybody's able to make that transition from gi to like being pretty much naked,
Yeah.
right? Whereas wrestling, it was always kind of intended for that, right? Like the singlet,
Yeah,
the
I
singlets.
mean, wrestling, you're doing a lot of pulling and tugging, and I feel like that could easily translate to arm wrestling table. in certain ways because of
Sometimes.
what you're doing, you know.
I think
And
more the mindset translates better. Like,
no,
out of
I
all-
would argue physically because, like, when you're in a wrestling match and you're pulling and tugging, you're also working your tendons and everything too, you know.
for
And
sure.
and then you're also working, you know, like your quick movement and stuff to another position, you know.
Yeah, but also in wrestling, it's a lot of legs, right? Like, there's definitely, like, you know, your arms and your shoulder.
Shit,
But
I would argue his whole fucking body.
for sure.
I would probably die if I ever did a match myself. I'm so out of shape.
If you look at the build of a lot of like high level wrestlers, though, like they're very proportionate. Like, you don't see a lot of. I don't think there's any high level wrestlers that have like twig legs and just jacked up on bodies. Like, a lot of them, they have solid,
evenly built,
yeah.
built. Yeah, evenly
and
built.
big necks. Well, I guess depends on the guy's style, but like a lot of
Kurt
times
Angle.
Yeah.
Bro, did you ever see that documentary on Peacock for Kurt Angle on his arm, not his professional, but his amateur wrestling career? Bro, man, he seriously did wrestle with a broken fucking neck. I mean, he was taking, he was seriously taking fucking needles straight into the neck just to numb him out because of a physical injury. I mean, that dude's story is inspiring. But before he even broke his neck, I mean, he put in the work. He was like the Rocky Balboa, you know, for Americans in the not arm wrestling. I wish, but we don't have that in the Olympics. But for the Olympics and shit like that, you know, for amateur wrestling and shit like that, you know, and pro wrestling and the, you know, real wrestling, you know, if you ladies and gentlemen can follow us. But I mean, his story was very powerful.
Yeah.
And it was also sad too, because, you know, eventually once he got into professional wrestling, you know, it was a cakewalk for him because you're talking about somebody who was busting his fucking ass off cardio wise and everything. And he is a Sagittarius and he would take it to 100, baby. And, he got real bad into drugs eventually. It took a while, but I mean, he got so deep into drugs because of the pain and the injuries and then the reoccurring injuries. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, that seems to be a lot of sports that kind of take a toll on your body like that. That seems to be the final destination for a lot of the high level guys.
Yeah, and also too, to add to that, I can remember a time period back in that time period where me and my dad, we were really starting to dig Kurt Angle. We loved it. Like whenever he came out to the entrance, you suck, you suck. And then it just is great. But ultimately he was a wrestling machine. He was like, oh my God, he was so good. And his matches with, you know, fucking Brock Lesnar, Chris Benoit. Yes, we love Chris Benoit over here. I don't care about his personal shit.
Yeah. What does Evan always say? Like Father of the Year award?
Who?
Evan, when it comes to Chris Benoit.
Oh my God.
Terrible joke. Terrible.
Look, I'm very curious on when eventually, because there's some people, I mean, and then, you know, there's even been like a serious study on his brain and how many concussions he had, you know, and stuff like that. I've seen all the documentaries on Chris Benoit, and I mean, and then he's got his son who's always, even to this day, staying in his quarter. Like, that wasn't my dad, you know, and this, that, and third and stuff. And, but I feel like in a way, maybe he didn't really know his dad. I mean, because if you know your shit, his wife was actually through some text messages threatening to leave him, you know. And I know with the Taurus in general, that's a big.
That doesn't justify anything, though.
No, it does not. But when you know you have a wife that you've procured to yourself, you have children with them, you don't want them to leave. like for real, you love her, you love your kids and everything. You've made and built mostly on your effort and everything. So this is your kingdom. I can understand from a Taurus perspective why he may have stabbed and killed his, his daughter and or not daughter, but sorry, his wife, and his son, because
Yeah, but let's be serious. Like you've already lost some mental fortitude when you start to go down that road, right? Like there's a lot of things that have gone wrong.
well, there is also, I would argue, a dark
And I
romance.
wouldn't say it has anything to do with his like star sign or whatever the fuck.
No. It does have some reasoning behind it because I know how sentimental in general, not specifically, but in general, Tauruses can be. Even just like with items, like they will not get rid of like something they've had for like fucking 20 years. They'll still have it laying around the house because it has sentimental value. Sentimental being the key word there, right? I have a brother who's a Taurus. But anyways, aside from that, I would argue that it's deeply romantic what he did because till
Jesus.
death do us part. I mean, just hear me out, okay? I mean, I'm
right.
even doing that on myself, but just hear me out, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right. So why would I say that? I say that because what do you do when you get married? Till death do us part. So he had that controlling mindset as a man, as who he is, right? And it was like, basically, bitch, you ain't leaving me. I don't care what I got going on. I've created this kingdom. You ain't leaving me. A lot of men can identify with this in a toxic way, right? Which it obviously it ain't good, but because of how women are these days, it's definitely a modernity of women. And we'll get into that a little bit later once we get to it.
Yeah.
But, because of hypergamy and options and this, that, and the third, I mean, it's really affecting, even feminism is affecting our society in general because now we are in a scarcity. We are seriously in a scarcity because of all this shit in the name of equality and everything, especially in America. I don't know what's going on in Canada, but in the US and the UK,
nothing but great things happening up here, buddy. Nothing but great things.
Oh yeah, y'all smoking weed, you got free medical care.
No, I think our unemployment rate is like through the roof now. I think it's like 1 of every 5 people or something like it's crazy. Yeah, there's some
yeah, and what it is,
not
right?
doing the greatest, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's more so on the men's side because I know, and I'm trying to look at my notes right here. Let's see here. Blah blah
But
blah blah.
1 of every 5, that sounds too high. That must be too high. There's no way the unemployment rate's that high, but it's social assistance rates and unemployment in general.
What it is
really high.
I know I wrote. Yeah, it was somewhere in here. Where the fuck is it? All right, it's CBS, right? Evening News a month ago on YouTube. You can find it. It was specifically talking about construction workers, but now in the U.S., in general wise, instead of being specific like they were in this news report, because it was hot shit, we're having a serious scarcity of electricians, plumbers, and trade workers in America. This is not good because that is our infrastructure that keeps us together. Who the fuck is going to be down there when the cockroaches are crawling on them, and doing sewer work, Yeah. I mean, is it going to be women in the name of equality?
Yeah, but ultimately, when you have a shortage of a particular workforce, right? In my opinion,
it's not just one; it's multiple. We're talking about all trades.
Right, but when you have a shortage like that in an economy, usually there's some things that over time have led to that, right? And a lot of the times those things can be addressed. You just need to fund those particular industries better, right? Like I think ultimately, like if a job like sucks to do and compared to other things, but it pays good, people are going to do that job, right? But if the job's really hard and it sucks, people are going to look for alternatives, right?
Well, I
And
mean, I can tell you right now, my father, seriously, my father, 16 years old, man, was a hanger and finisher of drywall. And when I was around 10 or 11 years old, when I started acting up in grade school, I'm being not specific, but just, I'm trying to skip other things. I can tell you right now, that man is a special human being because he did that shit for so long. He's done it all the way up until his 50s, even painting as a union worker. It started off as punishment whenever I would get in trouble in school, right? Yeah, and then I would go and help him in a side job in hanging and finishing drywall. I'm telling you right now, that shit is not easy, especially when you're doing it up in like a fucking was it a basement or whatever, and you ain't got no fucking windows or airflow. I remember a time doing that shit, sweating my ass off like Donkey Kong. But anyways, those jobs, I mean, my dad was making almost, if not $30 an hour. I can tell you that right now. But that was only because my dad was really good at it. He was the number one in Georgia and South Carolina, and he was connected to some prominent contractors. Okay. And if they needed something done, they always called my dad. My dad never had a problem looking for work in that department because he was really good and he was fast with a screw gun manually and not like that automatic shit they have now, where you could have like a big old strip of nails and just, My dad would have like a handful, if not 10, of, drywall nails. I mean, for real, my dad was just skilled,
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like those jobs used to be proper careers, right? Like 20 plus years ago, that was a real career option, right? Whereas
Yeah, I
now,
hear what you're saying. Shit's changing.
well,
Shit's changing.
things are fucked up, right? Like if you look at, again, I can't speak for everywhere in the US, but even just look at the housing economy in Canada, whereas like the average home now is like, I don't know exactly like everywhere, but I know in my area, you're talking like 800 plus $1,000, right? So for 800 grand,
Whoa.
yeah.
What the fuck?
So for like $800,000,
Bro, that's way more expensive than it is in the US because I can tell you right now,
yeah.
I used to for almost 3 years, right? Not terribly too long ago, probably a little over a year ago. For almost 3 years, I worked for 3 different realty companies, putting up and taking down signs in the middle Georgia area for Golden Key Realty, Century 21, and AF Realty, Amanda Feebig and her husband in Perry, Georgia, right? So, like, 8, what kind are those fucking mansions that they're building over there?
These are just single family homes. But anyways, so those same homes, like pre 2019, they were anywhere between like, 180 to 350,000.
Inflation, right? Is what you're talking about.
Oh,
big time.
It's more than just inflation. Like there's a lot of problems that I think have kind of led to that point, right? Like,
oh yeah, I mean, because like what I was just saying,
valuation of the currency.
Yeah, and obviously they had to really pay a lot, probably, and it was probably hard for them to find these trade workers to build those homes. So that was probably what ultimately led to them making that shit so high as it was. I can almost bet you.
But what all I'm getting at is like before, right? So pre 2019, and especially if you go even further back, the ratio to the cost of a home to what you're making financially in a year, right? It's been a long time since it was 1-to-1, like you made $40,000 a year and the houses are 40,000. Like that was a long, long time ago. But once it got beyond like 2-3x, now it's like people start to kind of not want to work anymore, right? Like you don't see yourself ever being able to afford a home. And and again, this is my perspective on it. And it's like when you start to think like, okay, I'm never going to own a home, you start to acquire this like defeatist attitude, and then you don't want to take those hardworking jobs because it's like, well, what am I working for? Like, I still can't fucking own anything, right? Like, sure.
Well, that would be contingent on how much you really need the job, because I would argue against that. Like, if I'm in a tough position and I need to make that money, even though I know I can, but I don't want to because of how I feel, that's contingent, right? So, like, if I know I can be there and do this, I'll do it. But just because of how I feel or whatever, circumstantially,
But
I mean, fuck that shit.
Well, that's
Because
the
it
thing, right?
ultimately comes down to surviving. That's where our survival skills kick in, and then we're like, okay, we got to do this despite everything else.
But here's the thing, right? So we passed the survival instinct stuff because realistically, like modern day times, it's easier to survive than it ever has been in history, right? Like worst comes to worst, you live on social systems, you can go live under a bridge in a tropical area. You know, like there's a lot of easier ways to survive now, right?
SSI, like you could seriously fake that you got some kind of mental health illness.
Exactly, right? So
I remember all the way back when I was first on the streets of Indianapolis, Indiana, like motherfuckers left and right were faking like crazy and getting SSI checks, and this was all the way back in 2009.
But here, let me get to my point, though.
We're talking about a galaxy far, far away, you know?
Yeah,
go ahead.
So my point is essentially, it used to be if you worked really hard, right, and you could have like a regular job, like a construction job, not something that you need to be super educated for. If you worked really hard and you put in extra time, extra hours, and you worked weekends, you could really get ahead, right? Like you could buy a house, you could buy a boat, you know, you could have a second car.
Oh, you know, bro, you're speaking my father's language, because like before, my dad was able to do that. Like my dad, seriously, starting at 16, met my mother when he was 24,
right?
Had me, you know, when she was like 18. You know, my dad had a very ideal my mother was fucking hot too.
Right. But you got to let me finish though. You got to let me at least explain what I'm trying to say.
No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying, because there was a time level where my dad had a 401k. He was a union paying year worker, and he had a bass fucking fishing boat and 2 fucking vehicles, and married.
Right. And I'm saying like that used to be a thing. So people were motivated to actually to grind at a regular job, right? Whereas now, if you honestly want to get ahead, $100,000 is not going to do it. Like if you're making $100,000 a year in Canada now, in most places, like you're doing you're doing okay. Like you're not doing awesome. Like you don't have.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Because you got to think the taxes here,
bro. Too, right? I made $20,000 a year, and I met my ex-fiance, and I was living on the clouds, bro. Like I was banking, like I was making over $500 a week as a single man.
Yeah, but
I had, now granted, I will say this: I didn't have any bills to pay.
What the fuck?
So, anyways, what I'm saying is now the amount of financial income that you need to have in order to get to that surplus level, right? In order to get to the point where you can have a boat, you can have a second car, you know, your mortgage is on the verge of being paid off. Like you're looking at $250,000, $300,000, right? In Canada, that's the kind of income you kind of need. If you already own a home, that's a different story, right? So if you've inherited a home, or you were able to buy something cheaper before all the prices went up, those people, they're kind of in an isolated bubble. That's not the majority of people in the country at the moment, right? So what I think is happening is the motivation to put in that extra work and to really work hard, it's not really there anymore, because you can work as hard as you want and you're still going to swim in debt. So I think the attitude of a lot of people is like, well, fuck it. If I'm going to swim in debt, like whatever, let's ride or die in debt. You know what I mean? So they don't really push themselves, because ultimately most industries, there's not really a point. Like if you're doing construction now, and I don't know what the average wage of a construction worker is at the moment. Like I would imagine it's pretty good. Like I would imagine that.
Oh yeah.
Achieve $100,000.
I would at least say it's around at least $20, if not more an hour. Sure. It's definitely at least $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Because like my dad, when he was at his height, I know he was making around like at least $30 an hour. And I mean, can you imagine making that fucking much money just doing a 7-8 hour shift, bro? Like that's banking, man.
Yeah, but again, like nowadays,
And you're doing
can't-
that at least 5 days out of the week. But my dad, like when he was a family man, you know, when him and my
Yeah.
mother were still together, and I grew up in a nuclear family by the grace of God. You know, I had my mother and father all the way up until I was, you know, basically out of the nest, you know, and then the shit hit the fan, but we're not going to go there. But, you know, my dad was definitely making a lot of money, and he had to because he did not, at the beginning, as far as I understood it, he did not want my mother to work. And of
Yeah.
course, my mother was very hot, especially when they met.
That's
I
always good
remember
to say
seeing
your mom's
old
hot.
ass
It's a good thing
pictures of
to.
my mother. Yeah, before my mother had the acne and stuff, my mother was fucking hot. So I could understand how my dad was being a little controlling as a Scorpio and shit, you know. So, but Scorpio and Gemini, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is very toxic. Just ultimately, don't do it. And also for Aquarius and Cancer, don't do that one either. But anyways, you know, I can tell you right now from knowing what I knew from my father, like he was making some serious fucking money. You know, and unfortunately, because you know, my father had a history with alcoholism and hard drugs and stuff. I seriously some time ago found out that my dad used to do cocaine because like he couldn't donate plasma at a plasma center because his whatchamacallit in his I forget his septum
Yeah, deviate
or
septum.
whatever was ruptured, you know, because like he used to do cocaine way back in the day, you know. And but anyways, you know, both my mother and my father, they were a mess. And but I will say kudos to my father because my father was a man. He stepped up, he got cold turkey clean. You know, he showed me what it is to make hard decisions and to be a man for the family and to be the breadwinner and stuff. And I can't hold a candle to my dad because like my dad was seriously a superhero because like doing construction work sporadically for so many years like it did with him and stuff. I hate construction. I'm not gonna lie. Like fuck that shit for real. So I can kind of understand what you're saying and what's probably going on too in general with our society is, you know, you got social media, you can make money on that. So people want to try and venture into that really hard, you know, if they're really determined to make money and stuff. And then also other avenues, you know, as well, that's not so physically demanding, but, you know.
Yeah, but it's not just that. I feel like, you know, the avenues of making enough money to be able to like actually strive, I feel like it's less now than ever before, right? And I feel like that's the real problem, in my opinion,
Okay.
right? Because again, I don't know the housing economy in the U.S. compared to here that well, but yeah, like if you're talking about the average salary in Canada versus the average price of a home, it's probably 10x the salary, right? So you're talking about like 10 years of your salary, you know, pre-tax.
What is the homeless population like there in Canada? Do you know?
I don't know the numbers, but it's way more than it's ever been. Like if you could look outside of cities like Toronto, there's like 10 cities and stuff now where that never used to be a thing. So I don't know the numbers.
So it's getting worse, basically.
It's not even. If you look at the homeless population now versus 10 years ago, I wouldn't be surprised if it's damn near 100x what it was then. Like it really is. And again, I don't know what it's like throughout the entire country. I just know from what I've seen growing up, You
Gotcha.
never really used to see a lot of homeless people. Like you did, like if you went downtown Ottawa or Toronto, like you would see some. But I feel like now it's way more. Like it's again, there's areas outside of Toronto. Like the last time I was there, I drove past and I saw this area underneath the highway, which was just like these makeshift like tents and cardboard homes and stuff. And I personally never saw that there before. So this is something that's within the last. I would say maybe the last 10 years. I would say even close to this, like last 5 years. It's probably gone up a lot. Yeah, unfortunately.
All right. So you're originally a martial arts fighter. Then 4 years ago, roundabout, you
Yeah.
get connected with a very prominent name in the arm wrestling world. And then you sporadically, but you also do some production work, like
Yeah.
with Razor, and stuff. I got to mention that one because I thought that shit was very entertaining. With you and fucking Beer Man on commentary, and then Devin Larrett's the head ref, and then you got Razor going against this black dude who's also wearing shades, but it's heart shaped, so he's kind of like he's like the Shawn Michaels of the arm wrestling world.
Yeah.
That
Jean-Luc is the guy's name. Like he's
Jean-Luc.
He's really good too. Yeah.
He looked like he was in pretty damn good shape.
Yeah, I think he's way better now. Like I think that event was like 2-3 years ago now. 2 years ago.
Almost. According to YouTube, it was probably sometime over a year ago, at least.
Yeah, I would say that
because technically on
2 years
YouTube
ago.
it says 1 year ago, but I know from my experience, just by knowing how they calibrate that, it was more likely almost, but not 2 years ago.
That event was also uploaded to YouTube well after it had already happened too, right?
Yeah.
So I would say at least 2 years ago if I had to guess. Yeah, or close to it, anyways. Yeah.
Gotcha. I really liked it. I thought that shit was so entertaining.
It was good. That was a really fun event. And we were actually looking at doing another one like that. I think probably.
Oh, really?
I think so. Like end of June or something, maybe July.
Is Razor going to be in there?
I would imagine so. Yeah, I would imagine. See, Reagan needs to get himself out there. He was actually supposed to be in the 5 or 6 man round robin at the Mac 2 event.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, things happened and he had to bail out last minute. But I feel like, he needs to get his stuff together and really start putting himself out there because like he's a great arm wrestler. Like he is really good.
Yeah.
And,
he's working a construction job.
Yeah.
I actually remember seeing a video of him doing what he roundabout does. So I know he's a family man, and I know he's busting his ass off every day. And then probably too, along with that, we know he's an alcoholic. And so, not to debunk alcoholics at all. But I think, I know with me personally, it's starting to catch up with me physically because, like, I know now that I've retired from arm wrestling and I'm no longer getting going to arm wrestling practices as much as I was. And
you should, though. You should keep it up anyways. Why not? Keep the power. Keep the power.
Yeah. What it is, it's a situational thing, and I'm not really wanting to talk about it. There are a few people who may be listening or watching this who know about it. But unfortunately, I'm in a situation where I cannot be able to logistically be able to do that. And then also I have another situation as well. So hopefully sometime in the future, maybe God will smile on me, and then Earnhardt will be able to return and be like CM Punk when he came first back to the WWE and
not when he went to the UFC.
Shake
don't be
some
that,
shit
don't be
up.
That version of CM Punk.
Oh my God, no! Because like that was fucking dumb. I'm not stupid like that. No.
Yeah. It's interesting how some people, they don't understand like how hard fighting actually is. Like when you're just like sucker punching drunk people, that's a different that's a different kind of fighting when you're
Oh
actually
yeah,
in there with
because
somebody
like the
who
fight
wants
ends
it.
in like less than 30 seconds because you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
people breaking it up and or the motherfucker gets knocked out in less than 5 seconds, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not a 3-minute round fight in the UFC.
No, in my opinion, mixed martial arts is probably the most demanding sport. Like, and I'm not saying like in a lot of different ways, like on your body, your mind, like mental fortitude.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of things that kind of go into it.
Stamina is key.
Yeah, no, good
And just
very, very
to
important.
add to that, that's one thing I've noticed that I've lost significantly here recently, just retiring from arm wrestling. And now I'm still physical at work, so I'm getting that physicality in because I do the truck once or twice a week, and stuff like that. And really every day I work there, same shit, different day. But anyways, but I noticed that my stamina, because like I remember a time where I could ride like 6+ miles to my second daughter's mother's house, coming from downtown Augusta, Georgia to fucking Warrenville, South Carolina on a bicycle. And then I'd be able to fuck her afterwards once I got there, coming through her window in the house, and her father didn't even know about it, But I seriously, and then even when I was in prison for 5+ years, bro, I was like Forrest Gump, man.
What were you in prison for? What were you in prison for?
I killed a man, he had to go. He had to go for real.
Seriously, legit.
Yeah.
Okay, so walk me through it. Walk me. What happened?
What it was is I had to go, and I needed to be. I really needed to be behind bars because.
But so what happened?
Yeah,
What happened? You gotta tell me. You can't just say you went to prison.
Oh my god. You should follow more on social media. I've told this story in multiple ways, and even the '98 show.
Okay. Well, give me the
After spreading my butt cheeks on a live, just mooning Ryan Grinding because I hate that fat fuck.
Oh jeez.
But anyways, so prior, I was working and living at the Salvation Army. I can start there. And was it starting around about in 2013? I worked for the Salvation Army, drove the forklift. I was their backbone and what have you. And I even was on the newspaper, the local Augusta Chronicle, one time during a Christmas time period because of what I was doing with the Salvation Army. And I felt I wish I had a picture of that still to this day, because my father, and not just my father, my family, my father, God rest his soul, Paul Callan, William Machin, my pop, me and my brother and my two sisters call him Pop because he's the one we've only ever known. He was technically our step grandfather, but on my mother's side. And John Machin, his brother. And my family helped build that children's hospital in Augusta, Georgia in the late 90s. And it's the same place where my second daughter was born. So I got a lot of ties with Augusta, Georgia. And then the fact that I've been born there in the University Hospital, which is just right down the road from what used to be called the old MCG hospital. It's called something different now because of the fucking college bullshit that was going on like 2015, 2014 or whatever.
Yeah.
But so, I was in a position where I got seriously wounded by my oldest daughter's mother, the only woman I've ever felt deeply to this day about as much as I did for her. For example, I remember being with her, and me and her were, long story short, like two rats in a sock. But she was my first and last love. And I remember, for example, I didn't have a vehicle. I was in my early 20s when me and her met. I think we were basically around the same age. She had had a daughter by a previous guy who was supposedly a pedophile and in jail and stuff when we met. That kind of scene. And but when me and her met, it was totally like, so it was like a drug to me. Cause like, I remember on those times where I had like a big ass, square ass fucking mirror, like in the living room, right? Where you could see a vehicle coming this way and coming into the driveway and everything.
Mhm.
Right. I remember multiple times just sitting there and knowing that she's on the way, coming all the way from Connorsville, Indiana to Plainfield, Indiana, which is over an hour drive at least, right? And she had a vehicle courtesy of her grandfather. She's a Capricorn, I'm a Capricorn. And bro, I was in love. I've never felt that way because, like, when I would see her coming across, and I would shoot right out that door. I'd run right to the car in the backyard. I would greet her as she's coming out of the car. I would kiss her and everything, and then I would drag her ass back into in the bedroom, and I'd, oof.
Yeah, we don't need to go into all the details here.
Oh yeah, bro. Like, I'm telling you the raw truth, bro. Like, me and her were just like. But unfortunately, some things, because, like, you have that dimension of you, right? But me as a person, and then knowing what I've coming from, which you only seldom know about, whatever, on who I am and everything. I was during that time period, you had Full Tilt Poker, you had Poker Stars. Full Tilt Poker was my shit. This was back before the government put all the lockdowns on it, and you were able to internet gamble back in 2007.
Back in the day,
oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
You had that. Was it the Chris Jesus Ferguson? Chris Jesus Ferguson, you would have that daily tournament you could do, or weekly tournament, where you could win. And I won 3 of them on the internet, courtesy of my grandparents having a computer and a Windows XP, right? I mean, this is like, we're talking about ancient shit right here, bro. Windows XP? Who the fuck knows what that shit is now these days?
Yeah.
You know
what?
But I was doing courtesy of my Uncle Jack. My Uncle Jack, seriously, who's also a Capricorn, influenced me to try internet gambling when it was still legal to deal with Poker Stars and Full Tilt Poker. Now, these days, the only way you can gamble online now is through an American-made site. It's no longer overseas. I don't know why they made it that way or whatever, but, whatever.
There's online gambling has kind of gotten weird over the last couple of years. A lot of them actually, I think, are in Ireland. And
that started back in 2009, if I remember correctly, because after 2009 or whatever roundabout happened, like, you couldn't go on Full Tilt Poker, full bet, or Phil Hellmuth's channel or whatever he had, where you could bet, and then it just. Then you had to go to shit like Full Flush.
I don't remember that one. I don't remember that
and
one.
Then cakepoker.com. I mean, come on. Full Flush. I won my first free roll off that. I didn't win it. What it was is I placed in the last table, and I had never done that before. And I remember being with my ex-girlfriend, Tressie, right? I was on a paid vacation from the Salvation Army, whole week, right? Paid vacation from the Salvation Army after a whole years of employment. Me and her were in a motel over there off Peach Orchard Road, I believe, in Augusta, Georgia. And I was on her laptop and I did Full Flush. I was seriously coming out of retirement, like a hiatus. And I fucking did it, man. It was so awesome. I remember jumping over on her. She's asleep on the bed, and I'm jumping up and down. I'm like, baby, baby, you won't believe it. And all I did is win like just a little over $1, around $1. But bro, when you have a tournament with 1,500 people online, oh my God, man, it just stroked my ego. It was the first seeds to show me. And I've learned this even more just doing my arm wrestling career, because my father has always told me, son, if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I understand that now. I understand my superpower as a man and as a person, as who I am, because I know how to create bullshit. I know how to make waves. If I really set my mind on something, I know I can do it. Because, like, I mean, I'm a jack of all trades. I can play the guitar. When I was in prison, I mean, I seriously did fucking chess. I got my chess book still. I mean, and chess is a wonderful game, by the way. It's
I play a lot.
such
I play a
an
lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but I play with my daughter and stuff. Yeah. So.
What's your favorite opening?
So I'm not balls deep into chess as
Oh
all the
shit! Okay, I had to try you up.
no, but like I do enjoy playing it. I think I might have played a couple games with Devin and stuff too. But
yeah,
I do.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I've seen those videos. I know he's a chess player.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, he's really good.
I wonder what his favorite opening is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, I know I have a couple friends of mine that have tried to get me more deep into it, like, you know, talking about different strategies and techniques and stuff. But I never got that deep. But I do enjoy playing it.
Is it Bobby Fischer related by any chance? Come on, that's the American dude right there. That's our last American hero right there in the chess world.
See, I don't follow chess. I don't follow.
Oh my God,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not that deep. I'm at like a
okay.
Casual,
I got you.
I have a chessboard in my living room. If I have people over, we'll play type thing. You know, I'm not like you know, getting the ELO ranks and like going online and stuff. I'm not there.
Bro, when you're on chess.com, it's all about that ELO ranking, baby.
No, I'm not that deep.
You almost got me wanting to revamp my account on there and start making some videos.
Yeah, there
getting
you go.
reacclimated in that, because I'm telling you, it's been a minute, but man,
I'll play you. We'll play some online chess. We'll play some online chess.
Okay. Yeah. We may. Because
but here's the thing, though. If I end up beating you, you can't just retire. You got to get back into it till you can beat.
Oh
I'm like the entry level to like you know the basic moves. If you can beat me, then you know the basics of chess. You know, like
oh yeah. I mean, because I'm gonna tell you right now, when I'm playing as white, it's either the Italian opening or it's the King's Gambit, or not King's Gambit, but the King's Indian, which was a personal favorite of. Along with the King's Gambit as well, which is something that Bobby Fischer elaborated on when he's getting real spicy. But
what's the King's Gambit then? What's that?
The King's Gambit is where you're doing some. I can't get Jesus Christ, really picking my brain now, because like it's basically where you're doing some interesting spicy shit, and then it will throw your opponent off to where it will kind of like bait them into you. And like, if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, it can really fuck you up.
So you're baiting them into chasing your king in order to take their piece?
Oh yeah, I mean, come on. A gambit is obviously where you're trying to trick them into doing what you actually want them to do. You want them. It's only a gambit ultimately is when they take the bait.
Yeah.
You know, that's the definition of a gambit. So if they don't take it, hopefully they really know their shit there as well, because then, I mean, you obviously know each and every fucking move you do in chess. I mean, oh my God, you have the theories, right, that establish what you should do. And then you have the theories that what you shouldn't do and what's going to happen eventually in the long run. Yeah. And that's what I love about chess, because chess is totally a reflection of life for real. Like every move, you do in life, and you don't even know what's coming. unless you're smart enough to be able to read moves ahead, just like in a, when you know your homework and everything in a chess game, on
Yeah.
whatever opening that you're playing as white or even playing as black to defend, I guess you could say, in a way. But yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, we should play sometime. I think it'd be fun. Yeah, you could, teach me if you beat me. You could teach me exactly how you did it. And what strategies you're using or whatever.
I'm gonna have to remember that. I'm gonna have to download the app too, because oh my God, it's been at least over 2 years since I've messed around on chess.com, and I do have an account.
I don't know if I still have it installed. I used to have an app that all it was I'm trying to think if I still have it. I don't think I do. But all it was just different chess puzzles where it was like different configurations. It wasn't necessarily like a full chessboard, but it was like, smaller segments of the board. And
doing the training segments that they had on there.
But it wasn't the chess.com ones. It was a different app. It was some sort of like chess puzzles app. And
okay.
Actually, maybe I do still have it on. One sec. I'll see if I can find it. But it's literally just got hundreds of these things. Actually, it's called, is this it here? One sec, I'm opening it up just to see. Yeah, it's called Pocket Chess. So essentially, it's
never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see on my phone here. Is it going to focus on that? Probably not going to, eh?
Yeah.
But essentially, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So essentially,
Pocket Chess.
Yeah, so essentially, it's just a bunch of different configurations. So sometimes the boards are not square. Like sometimes the boards are like a little bit weird shaped and stuff. But it's just all these different puzzles using chess pieces, and that I really dig. I really dig solving puzzles like that.
Gotcha. The last time I actually played chess was when I was fucking around with this woman who was married.
Ah, there you go. See, you got all these stories.
Her husband was supposedly a good chess player and everything, right? So I beat him, if I remember correctly, and I'm not completely. I know I beat him in one match, and then I believe it was the first. I believe he got me in the first one, and then the second one I got him. I got his queen. I baited him into a situation. I got his queen and fucked him up, and it was game over from there. And then so basically and according to them, he was hot shit or whatever, hadn't been beat by other people who have come to fuck his wife or whatever. It was a cuck situation. I was doing the FetLife.com shit, forgive me, BDSM shit. Yep, FetLife.com with the kinks and all that shit.
I have no idea what FetLife is. What's FetLife?
It's BDSM. That's bondage and like all those kinks, sadism, and masochism, and weird shit, foot fetishes. It's basically a sex community.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, just keep it simple.
Yeah, I'm too
and
that stuff. Yeah.
This was one of two women that I got involved with who were married and stuff, and it was totally consensual, so I messed around her. But anyways, so I played her old man a few times in chess, and that was seriously I was like totally fresh, like right out of a hiatus, like 2+ years roundabout. And that happened mid to late last year. So that was the technical last time I played chess in person. So
powerful.
Yeah.
Hey? So let's go back. So let's take it back a little bit, because at one point you're mentioning that you went to jail for 5 years, you said, right?
Yeah. I went for aggravated assault, possession of a knife in the commission of the crime, and first-degree burglary. That's on paper. But, obviously there was a story there. I was shot. And
where were you shot?
I was shot on my right side right here, and where it hit, I mean, it seriously had a hole blown right through me.
Jesus.
It didn't hit any vital organs. It just hit muscle and tissue.
Okay.
And what was crazy is the person who shot me like that was actually an ex-person who used to work for the prison system or worked in the county jail or whatever. She was, somebody who had probably obviously had some experience in handling a firearm. And I remember being locked up and being in the Richmond County Jail with this injury and seeing another guy who was in a douchebag. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, damn, I'm feeling real grateful right now, you know, because like he's
no
in a
doubt.
dude. If she'd have shot more to the left, I mean, it'd have been game over for me. You know, I'd have been in a douchebag, or I'd have been paralyzed from the waist down.
So what led up to that then? So what? Obviously, there's some shenanigans that happened.
Long story short, I was, you know, I mean, I'm working for and living at the Salvation Army on Green Street in downtown Augusta, Georgia. I'm dating a lot of women who, I mean, it's just woman after woman. So I'm not finding what I'm, and also too, I knew at that point in time I was suffering from self-love as well. I remember looking at some self-guru shit on self-love and stuff because I knew, because like even like just with my job and stuff, I was like, I was totally unhappy where I was situationally and everything, you know. And then I had suffered being, you know, I never my, and this too, a lot baggage wise, you know, my oldest daughter's mother left me at in Shelbyville, Kentucky, left me at a fucking library when she was a few months pregnant with my oldest daughter. Took that shit completely away from me. These days now, my daughter, because of her decision and leaving me at a fucking library in Shelbyville, Kentucky, my daughter is totally estranged from me and doesn't really care for me. Even though when I had a period of time where I called her every fucking day, we'd play Roblox together and so I was trying to connect with her. Then eventually she just didn't want to. My daughter was estranged from me. Keyword here, ladies and gentlemen, look the fucking definition up.
Yeah.
Because this is what probably a good percentage of men are suffering from right fucking now. Because I'm going to tell you right now, check this out, ladies, for those who are runners and track stars. This is facts right here, and this is running hot right now on social media as of like 2 days ago-ish. 45% of women will be alone and childless in 2030 because you have all these podcasts. You have At Whatever, which is a big one. You got Fresh and Fit, The Diary of a CEO. You got Levi Nick's show. You have the late, great fucking Kevin Samuels, God rest his soul. His legend will live on. He was probably the forerunner and pioneer of this run shit right here because it's totally educational for men to start stepping up and having standards because women, his fucking name is Paul Brunson. 2 months ago, he was on the Diary of an episode of a CEO. 2 months ago, did an episode with the actual runner of that show. I mean, women, your shit's starting to catch up with you because feminism, got him all that shit. It's starting to catch up with you because men are opting out and women are wondering where all the men are at. Well, gee, let's see. Y'all want the 666, right? You'll want the 6 foot tall, 6 figures, and 6 inches in the sack, right? Well, there's actually stats on that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you right now, 14% of the population of men, at least in the United States, right, is 6 foot and plus. That is significant. Okay, and then you want the 6 figures, ladies, right? Y'all want to be them, you know, hold on a sec. Y'all want to be them runners and the track stars, right? I'm going to tell you right now, when you're trying to chase a man who's not just 6 feet, but just only has 6 figures, you're talking about a less than a 5% of men in general in our economy in the U.S.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
maybe I'm the one that's disconnected, but I feel like most of that is just, you know, a minority of people being loud voices online. I feel like, you know,
You're talking about people who are way popular than me and you. I mean, At Whatever,
Yeah, but like,
the Diary of a CEO. You're talking about people who have over
Right.
1 million subscribers.
but they're talking to like,
Actually, I will say this: the Diary of a CEO is actually at, if not around 10 million subs. That is fucking huge, bro.
right. But if you look at like the whatever podcast, right? Like they're not interviewing just average girls.
No,
They're
they're always bringing
interviewing
in those fucking OnlyFans
OnlyFans and
chicks.
social media. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, so again, you're literally talking about like what's the percentage of girls that are
I
going
can,
on-
yeah, I can tell you right now, if I remember correctly from a source on social media,
right.
it's 1 in every 10 women are actually doing OnlyFans.
Right. Okay, and that's fine. But out of those 1 in 10, how many of them are actually making real money? Right.
Bro,
would
I
say
can
it's
tell
very
you
low.
right
I
now.
would say it's very low.
I actually had my cherry popped here recently. Not gonna lie. The first and last time only. I swear to God.
Yeah.
You can tell me I'm bullshit, whatever. I'm telling you right now. It was just like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
I came across this bitch on fucking, was it Snapchat? And I don't do Snap. The only reason why I use Snapchat is to even further expand my social media presence.
Yeah.
And I did that off of a social media tip. And I thought it was pretty smart. But anyways, so I met this chick. We started talking, come to find out she's fucking OnlyFans or whatever. So I spent that $4.99 a month. Just out of courtesy, because she was very, very, very local, right? She's like less than 30 minutes away from me. I know that.
Yeah.
And oh my God, she's fucking hot. I mean, you look at but what's interesting about her, and probably what all these OnlyFans ladies are probably doing, right? And it's a very interesting, it's intellectual, it's very smart marketing, right? If you pay that $4.99, then you subscribe to their OnlyFans to see their YooHoo, right? Well, they're not completely naked in all the shit that they post. So what they do is they try and get you to the next level where you spend even more money, which is like $30 or whatever to see her live or whatever, butt naked, touching her coochie or whatever. That I did not do, because I'm like, bruh.
But
like you ain't even showing no fucking skin right now.
Yeah.
And you want me to pay more?
Yeah, but
Like-
to me, even paying a monthly like subscription for something like, I don't know, to me it just seems crazy. I would just never
Oh,
do
yeah.
it.
I mean, it was $4.99. So I mean, I was like, fuck it. Let's see what this is all about. Because I've heard, on social media wise, I've heard all about this shit. But I can tell you right now, for every single post she did, and this is going to answer your question that you asked just a moment or so ago, the significance of this shit. Every post she makes, there's a feature where you can actually tip, right? This is where the sympidemic needs to fucking end. And God save America. Levi Nix is head on with this shit. Because I can tell you right now, for just one picture, and she's not even fucking naked. She's just, posing whatever with her lingerie or whatever. The bitch got over $1,000 in tips, because there's a feature on there where you can actually tip her for each post picture she makes. And then for each post, she can do multiple pictures in that post, right?
But
just teasing and whatever. I swear to God, the sympidemic is for real. And we need to stop, because if it does not, you're giving more power to the women. And look at our economy and our infrastructure now.
Yeah,
Women are making more money. And I shared this with you earlier, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to see this, because for all them son of a bitches who are like, oh, all the women for that gender pay gap, where the fuck is it? I know I had it on here. Shit, maybe I forgot to upload it.
Yeah.
But you seen it, right? Yeah, you seen it. Shortly after 2020, right? The ages of 16 between 24, women are outweighing by a significant number, making way more money than dudes are. And really, it's kind of a no-brainer to me because I mean, you got shit like OnlyFans and then Patreon pages and shit,
But
and
again,
then you even got like sites like Bigo, which is fucking huge.
I don't even know what that is.
It's basically you got areas in social media areas where women are predominantly more productive than men just because of their sex, and then you got too many
Sure.
fucking simps.
Yeah,
You know,
but again, going back to the OnlyFans thing, like realistically, out of all the women that are on OnlyFans, like how many of them are actually making like real money, right? Like,
bruh. I mean, these bitches could make like $1 million
right,
like
but you're talking
that.
about like the 1%.
The problem is that
right?
we
Like,
all know how women are with money. They get a shitload of money or a decent amount of money. We'll just say that, right? Oh,
well,
let's go on a vacation. You know, we know that in general, women are not good with money once they get it. So that's the problem in general with OnlyFans bitches is like they make all this money, right? But the thing is what are they spending it on? They're not spending it on investing in stocks and doing smart shit, right? They're out there doing vacations, they're taking cruises, they're doing all that shit that is pleasurable.
but
Nothing.
I don't think that would be true for the girls that are on like websites like OnlyFans that are making like millions of dollars a month or a year or whatever. You know, I would think that those girls are probably pretty smart, right? Like, because at the end of the day, in order to make that kind of money,
I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a woman, I would be over in Vegas making six figures, and I would make all these bitches look bad. I would be selling that coochie like it's going out of style.
Okay. I just found a website that claims to have like the financial distribution. So it says here, on average, OnlyFans creators make between $150 to $180 each month, right? So like that's nothing, right? That's like a shift at a fast food place, you know? Like that's like a weekend shift.
What was that for USA, Canada, or just in general?
Just in general, right?
Okay.
So that, you're talking $2,000 per year. So that's the average. So whatever they define average, whether it's
and that's poverty level by far.
That's nothing, right? So that's so like you're saying, if 1 in 10 women now in the States like has an OnlyFans account, I would imagine most of them fall into this where it's like.
Now that is as far as I believe I'm quoting Owens. It was that black lady, I think, who I got the stat from.
Okay.
Candace Owens. Candace Owens.
And again, I think that stat might be real, right? Because nowadays, you're looking at the common conception, right, of somebody with like an OnlyFans. It's like, oh yeah, like that's the way to make easy money. But like realistically, the competition in that space is so high, you have to do something extraordinary to stand up and kind of go beyond the average income earner in that space, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
especially,
and then
especially because you're saying it's like, okay, let's say 10% of women in the US now apparently have, and there's no way, is it 10% from like ages 18 all the way to like 90, or is that 10%?
Oh, it's definitely if I remember correctly, it's definitely the younger years. Because I mean, we know in general, right? Like, and all of them say this, once you hit 27, 28 as a woman, you start to lose your value as a woman because, you're not young, you're not more fertile as you used to be.
Sure.
And then also you probably got, several bodies, and with our society, I mean, just, I don't know if it's, really satire or just really dumbass people just being able to live their lives and be stupid,
I'm looking at these stats
but
right here.
I have seen numerous like cold calling guys doing TikTok videos and stuff. I mean, look at Hawk Tua, the fucking Hawk Tua chick. She is like the prime example. She just said that shit one day on somebody else's shit. And then she got connected with the right people, and then she's able to go to fucking rock concerts and get fucking cold calls from celebrities and comedians and shit. I'm like, bruh, men cannot do that shit. Only women can.
No, like you're right. Like there's definitely a huge advantage there. But when it comes to social media and like clout online, there are people that get like those viral moments, and she's smart to capitalize on it, right?
Yeah, but
And
now now she has been debunked. She has
what
been debunked.
what's
You
what's
haven't
the
heard?
point?
I'm gonna let you find that out for yourself. But
Oh,
she's
like
been debunked now.
you talking
Like
about like the
she is
crypto
no
thing?
longer. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like from my and I'm not balls deep in that stuff, but I've kind of seen kind of what's happened with her, and in my opinion, it looks like somebody was managing her career, right? Because like she went from literally like an internet meme to all of a sudden on like every fucking talk show, right? So
That was the problem right there. She had to have a manager when she probably could have done the
yeah,
shit herself. Like,
but
what
no,
the
there's
fuck?
there's no she was connected with somebody at some level, right? Whether it was like somebody in her peer group or somebody that saw her online and thought like, hey, we could try this thing. And there are these media groups out there that
Or
can
or it
completely
was
blow
probably
people up.
somebody who wanted to clap them cheeks.
Maybe,
I'm gonna tell you right now, she was a good looking woman, So like, hey
she's all
baby,
right.
I'll manage you. Whoop whoop.
Yeah, but anyway, so back to the OnlyFans thing though. Like when I'm looking at these numbers, right? It's saying that there's 300 creators on OnlyFans that make more than $1 million a year, right? So if you're saying 10% of all women, and what's the population of the U.S. right now?
It's in the billions or
No,
definitely the millions. It's close to $1 billion.
is it close
Just
to that?
America
No,
alone.
can't
Yeah.
be. That seems too high. No.
It's look it up. Help me out here.
Yeah. USA. Okay, so 340,000. Okay, so let's say half is women.
Whoa.
Or sorry,
There's
340
no
million.
way.
Sorry. 340
Yeah.
million. Sorry.
All right, so what now?
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me ask you, right? Do the math right here. So
Yeah.
340 million, what is 10% of that? That
Well,
is 34 fucking million ladies
but it's
on
not all women, right?
OnlyFans.
So out of the 340 million, let's say half
No,
is women.
it was exclusively about women. It was no men
Right.
in
So
there.
let me finish. So
That's
out
a
of,
lot of
there's
motherfuckers
not,
just being 1 out of 10.
but there's not 340 million women, right? That's probably half and half, right? So you're talking
Yeah.
about like, what's half of 3/4? So 12.
I said 1 out of 10.
170.
That's 10%.
Right. So, but yeah. So 170 million is women, right? So 10% of that is 17 million, right? So you're
Yeah.
talking 17 million, women on OnlyFans or whatever. And out
That's
of
a
that
lot of motherfucking women on
but it's a lot of people
OnlyFans.
not making any money because only 300 of those
I
17
doubt
million are
that.
making $1 million a year. I'm looking at the numbers right now, unless these are all bullshit.
I mean, they're obviously making a few $100s, and then that's
Sure.
excluding the fact that they may be a 304 as well. I mean, for real.
Sure. Again,
because I can tell you right now, the 304s are for real, and some of them are expensive. Like I can tell you right now, I've dealt with 304s at least a handful of times. You get this one chick, man, depending on her situation, she's going to be charging you $125 just for a QV, and that's 15 minutes. And
Right.
she may require you to have a condom on, and
Right. But again, these are like, from what I'm seeing, if that 10% number is true, okay, let's assume that that's true. There's no way that 10% is an equal distribution throughout the entire US. I guarantee you that most of that 10% is probably isolated in a couple different areas, right? So
like New York, Chicago, the West Side, Florida. You already know.
I couldn't tell you exactly
Texas.
where. Yeah, so
I wish I'd have clapped some cheeks in Texas when I went there, by the way.
When you were in Texas,
I say that, ladies and gentlemen, because of one Latina lady who dominated me from the bottom, as you ladies say. Like, oh, we can dominate from the bottom. I know what y'all are talking about now, for real.
Yeah.
And when you look at the listcrawler.com for fucking Houston, Texas, it's all Latina. Like it's totally different from Georgia, which is mostly black and a little bit of white, but over there it's like all Latina. And I'm like, whoa, yes.
So is that's where you're at? You're in Georgia?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right.
Georgia.
So where's Georgia in the U.S.? I'm just trying to think in relative space.
Southeast.
Okay.
Right above Florida.
Okay, so when we had the event, when the AWU event was in Texas, did you drive there or did you have to fly?
I was sponsored, sir. I was sponsored exactly April 1st, 2023, and I was less than 2 years into the sport, baby.
There you go.
Yeah! Power!
Powerful.
Oh, yeah. That's why
Yeah.
I'm so controversial, because that was a big deal. David Kotlow sent waves definitely through the 98 community, who was trying to destroy me back in the late. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was exactly sponsored, not 2023. I was sponsored April 1st, 2024. Sorry. So 98 was a long, because I said that one word, God forbid. I said the N word on the fucking live stream on 98, and then all of a sudden I'm racist, and then I'm getting called up the next fucking day after being harassed while I'm at work from Ryan Grondin in my messenger. Like, you fucked up, you're a loser, this, that, and third, and everything.
But realistically, it's best not to say that kind of stuff online anyways, right?
Yeah, you are correct, sir. But I mean, it totally is interesting though on the total drone mindset. The totally drone mindset that people can have, like when you just do one thing or say one thing, and then they're just all out, and they're like, "That's you," and totally write you off like you're that. And it couldn't be further from the truth, because how the fuck can I be a racist when I have a mixed daughter and an ex-fiance who's black? When you know the definition, the standardized, whether it's a Merriam Collegiate Webster dictionary or any fucking dictionary, or you look at somebody like fucking Hitler, there's no fucking way I'm a racist. Just because of a word I say does not make me a racist. I could just be doing that just for clout and just to make you react. I mean, for real. And that's what probably a certain majority of people do these days, is that they may not actually be what they're. I mean, you already know, bro. You've been in the fucking AW chat. A lot of motherfuckers in there talk so much shit and hard shit. Like, I mean, even Clinton Pickering,
bring your
even Clinton Pickering on fucking Jody Williams' show, when they were talking about it, Clinton Pickering said, you got to have thick skin on there, because I can tell you explicitly right now, Clinton Pickering obviously is black. And I remember him at a point in time when Andrew Wood was spamming the N-word in that group before the event, November 2nd. And he was like, bro, if this shit continues, I'm out. But I can tell you right now, Clinton Pickering's still in that group.
Yeah, and he's a good dude. Actually, I really like Clinton. I met him when we were down there in Texas. He's a cool cat.
Yeah. I mean, that's how he comes off, Yeah, I don't know the full story, I mean, I will say this. I treated him with, and I went into this event unlike what I did on my previous all events that I went to, because if you know my track history, and it's fully documented basically on my YouTube channel, I'm always turned up and I'm very disrespectful. But on this one, because of the gravity of the fucking N-word bullshit and everything, and then the fact that I was the one, or I thought I was the one. Actually, I found out way later that actually David Kotlow was already trying to get me and Clinton Pickering into a match, because I said the N-word and everything. I did not know this, but Clinton told me this, right? So what I seen from my point of view and knew from my point of view, right, is like it was AW 4.5, right? It was shortly after I was April 1st sponsored, paid flight and everything, hotel accommodations through David Kotlow, that I was trying to find me an opponent for AW5. And at first, there were talks of me and Andrew Yakimovich. That fell through. There were even talks of me with even more so with Timothy Papai Kailonen's son, Christopher.
Yeah.
And I was actually in good during that time period because, Timothy, Papai had come on my show previously during December, and during the Christmas holiday or whatever. It was my special guest. And so, I wound up coming across AW 4.5, which was run by Wade Carlson. And then I seen a left-handed match with Clinton Pickering with this really tall Asian dude. And he came all the way back, bro. He was down like 2-0 left-handed. And he came all the way back and won 3-2. And I was like, yes, this is the guy. And it just sprang from there. I contacted him, cold called him on Facebook Messenger and stuff. It's like, hey, would you like to have a super match left-handed? I seen your performance. I was seriously impressed, and I'm also looking for a challenge as well. And I would like to have you, and we were solid, bro. We were solid since day fucking one on that shit. Nothing faded out, and then I obviously tried to boot it with shorts to try and promote the match. I did shorts on it, like I did with my previous super match that I had in April with Brandon Baggett. I mean, I know I should have been a fucking wrestler. I should have been a pro fucking wrestler because I understand the value of a little bit of a verbal back and forth or doing promos and stuff, right? And then also selling the match as well. And that's what I did more than anybody on that fucking card that happened at AW5. I was trying to push shit out there. I even did it with Andrew Yakimovich's in ours match. I did a short on it. If you didn't see it, I used a fucking Lady Gaga song.
You pulled Andrew at the event that I was at? No.
Yeah, right-handed. And he's sorry in a hook, just like I thought he was. My problem
was it in Texas, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all over.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't think we got to pull it all. Where did you go after the event?
Bro, you came up to me when I was doing commentary and you're wearing a shirt like this that says hate me with a heart, and I was like, hey bro, I like that. Yeah, now it's coming back to you. Now it's coming back to you because bro, I love that.
I thought you did a good job at the commentary. I thought you guys did.
Oh yeah, and I really enjoyed it. It was not planned. It was not planned, but I tipped my hat in there, and I enjoyed it. And supposedly me and Matthew, what's his name? The Asian, right? Frazier, Matthew Frazier.
Yeah.
He used to be ranked nationally not too long ago. He's really good, and me and him on commentary were really good, supposedly, according to everybody else. But yeah.
But no, but I was saying, where did you go after the event? Because I know a bunch of us went back to this house and there was an after party. True story.
Yeah. But before I went to that event, I was like almost 5 days sober. Okay, right.
Good.
And ironically, I still was fucking dehydrated at the event.
Yeah.
I say this because after that round one, at a certain point, you see me bowing away and stepping away. My fucking toes were curling up on me. Oh, it was so painful. Yeah. And I had my Gatorade by me, but goddamn, I don't know why that shit was happening. I was like at least 4 days, if not more, fucking sober, And I was drinking water and shit. Not a lot or excessively by any stretch of the imagination.
Or maybe
You
you're
know,
low on sodium. Maybe your sodium level's low.
I doubt that is too. But anyway, so fuck, where was I going with this? What was the question again? Damn.
Where did you go after the event?
Oh yeah, no. What you were talking about the parties? You know, like the Friday night and everything.
Well,
You have to understand when I was coming in from Georgia, I was coming in Friday evening. Y'all were all at that party at the restaurant with David Kotler and them.
Yeah.
I was playing the responsible role, and I just went to my hotel, and I was obviously fucking hungry. So I went to the Bombshell, which is like the next level Hooters. Whoop, whoop. But the only reason, honestly, I went there is because I was trying to get a sirloin steak and they didn't fucking have one, come to find out. So I wound up having I took a picture of it. I even have the clips too of what I took. They had the fucking Jack, you know, from Nightmare Before Christmas, had a huge ass fucking statue of him at the entrance of the doorway. You know, and then of course you had all the waitresses with their butt cheeks hanging out and their titties hanging out and shit. You know, it was over.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was downtown or somewhere in Austin, Texas. Come to find out,
Austin we were in Houston. So that would have been a far way. No,
it wasn't terribly too far away, far as I remember. Because, like, I mean, all the Uber rides were like either under 20 or around $20 at the most. I mean, I came in there with over $400 saved up, bro. And I'm a sponsored athlete, paid hotel and plane flight, round trip and hotel accommodations. And I still wound it up with like $50 left when I had over $400 saved up.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But anyway, and I only spent it on Uber and food. That was it. I didn't buy no alcohol. Fucking David Kotlow had a big ass bottle waiting for me after I competed in the back of the car. Swear to God.
Yeah. So again, I want to know. So after the event ended, where did you go?
What it was is I knew my flight, what time my flight was leaving to go to Georgia, right? For the Spirit airliner, which is a very cheap airliner, and it was 4 something in the morning. I had to be there. Now, because of my mother, and then thank God for my mother, because before I had first caught my flight to go to Atlanta, right, I was wanting to go home and take a little bit of that, but because of her advice she gave me, right when I got home after donating some plasma, you know, saving lives and making money and everything, when we got home, I just went and left. You know, I got my shit and left. I wasn't playing around. So I got there around 2 hours ahead of time. So I used that same method to get out. So I'm waking up like 2 something in the morning.
Yeah.
Just to catch a 4 a.m. whatever flight.
Yeah.
And bro, I mean, I went to bed early.
So I wouldn't have went to bed.
I was intoxicated. I remember puking all over the fucking bed in the middle of the night. I'm sure the hotel appreciated that. But the funny thing is my roommate, Damon Ransom, was not there. So I just went to the bed next to me and slept on that because he wasn't there.
You know, he was at the again, I don't know that area.
I was at the Spark Hotel. Spark Hotel. It's very nice, very accommodating. Had shampoo and conditioner because, like, I told when I was going through at the Atlanta airport, I had shampoo or something, and they fucking took that shit. And then I told David while I'm on the way there on the plane, I was like, bro, you owe me some shampoo or conditioner, right? Because I had a 2-in-1. Well, he told me, oh, yeah, they already got it at the hotel. And sure enough, they did. It was very nice.
Yeah.
Very accommodating.
Yeah. No, Texas was great, man. I thought the AW event was, I thought it was really cool. Like, I thought it was ass
compared to the previous AW4.
Like,
I told David Kotlow, because like what he was doing was experimental, like the body cams and shit. Like, bro, what the fuck? If he'd have just stuck with the formula he had in AW4, it would have been fucking perfect footage, even during the rainstorm. I promise you.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I didn't, because I had a bunch of camera equipment that I was gonna bring and start filming stuff too. But the
Yeah.
rainstorm hit like crazy. I was like, I can't bring my stuff out. Like, it's gonna get
Yeah.
all fucked up. So.
But hey, you already know, thank God for Alex Top Roll.
yeah, no. Yeah, no, well, I got to hang out with him a little bit the day after. Massive.
That whole clip of us, right? It's got over 39,000 views on it on his channel.
Oh yeah, nice.
4K footage, baby. And I got 2 matches on there. Unfortunately, he did not get the footage where I flicked off Clinton Pickering in the second round when I beat him after he beat me in the strap. I'm telling you, everybody lit up after that round too, because that was totally epic. Because here's the thing, right? If you ever look at my footage, which is actual footage, it's like 14 minutes long. I named it my long-awaited left-handed match, whatever, on my video section on my YouTube channel, right? And obviously it's fuzzy, but it's decent quality. And then you got Timothy Papai Kailonen doing commentary along with, Matthew, who was paid to do the commentary and everything, right? I'm going to tell you right now, after he beat me in the strap after that first round, I went to my corner, and I didn't have nobody in my corner. I was alone. But I knew because of my training, Cujo's to fucking Dragon's Den arm wrestling with Cody Wood, but more explicitly, Mac Ruiz. Brilliant fucking mind in the arm wrestling community and world on training and everything, because me and Mac, we mostly trained for Andrew Yankomovich. It is what it is. But I will tell you, we trained for Clinton Pickering, and I found out even beforehand that I'm ironically left-hand dominant, even though I'm a right-hander at everything, right? Everything I do. And I believe what attributed to that ultimately is my guitar playing for so many years when I was a teenager. Because, think about it. You're holding a guitar like this, and then you're doing all the chords. So you're like in a supinated kind of like cupping form, and then you're working your finger strength and everything. Obviously, just looking at the match, you can see, because of if you know anything about the strap, when you're in the strap, it takes away the hand. And it's mostly arm and dragging strength and everything, right?
Yeah.
It's not so much hand. I knew after that first round that I had to keep him outside the strap. So what did I do? I chalked the fuck out of my hand, and then I grabbed really hard in a advantageous position setup wise every fucking time he went, without hardly any fucking. You could look at it. It's 14 minutes of footage. And it was exciting because, he got me in the first round, but next 3 rounds. But that second round was definitely epic, because after that one, because he beat me in the first round like he did, I walked away with a finger. And I love seeing that every time. It's just, oh my God, it turns me up, man. It's so fucking powerful. Because I'm a big Rocky fan, huge Rocky fan. I love Rocky to my core, and now that I'm getting older, I'm in my 30s and stuff. And then the fact that I pivoted at the age of 34 into arm wrestling, having a bodybuilding somewhat background, because I used to mess around with bodybuilding and creatine and shit like that. When I was even on the fucking streets in Augusta, Georgia. I had a serious gym membership in a very small recreational center in downtown Georgia. $50 for a year membership. Swear to God, bro. Oh, bro. And they had an ab wheel. They had everything that I needed that I was trying to do physically. And bro, I was such in good shape. Way more. And I was smaller too. I've never been this big. The only reason why I'm this big now, where I'm floating around 200, 210, whatever, it's because of alcohol. And then maybe a little bit of my diet too, you know.
Yeah.
But
On
now, since I've retired from arm wrestling, I'm floating around like 199, maybe 201 now. And I know this because whenever I go to donate for plasma at CSL, I'm always getting weighed on a scale, like
Yeah.
at least once a week, if not twice, max.
on that note, though, I do have to get out of here, my man. I do have to bail. I gotta eat dinner and I gotta spend time.
Yeah.
My kid
2
before I go to
hours
bed.
into this shit.
Yeah. That was
Oh,
good, man.
man.
It's good. It's good talking to you, buddy.
Damn, I felt like we could have went forever. I didn't get on any of my points. I want to ask you something though, right before
Yeah.
you go. And this is arm wrestling related. All right. After his surgery and recovery with the GOAT, John Brzenk, will he come back and also win?
Will he come
Did you
back?
see that segment with him and Yoshi Kanai?
I didn't watch that match. So I was over at Milo's watching the event, and so I didn't actually get to see the last match. But I'll say that, like, how old's John Brzenk now? He's like 60.
He is at least 60 years old, and when he comes back, he's gonna be like what, 62, maybe 63.
Yeah. So
But I didn't pay or watch any of the event, but I did watch a segment. You know, I love John Brzenk.
Yeah.
It's hard not to like him.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, what's his name? Neil Pickup, right? Got very emotional and was hugging him after the match or whatever. Because, like, you know, John's having to go into surgery because of his right arm. I'm assuming, I don't know 100, but, and then, you know, it's probably going to take him around a year to be able to heal and then come back and what have you.
Yeah. So, like,
and so there's questions of him. Basically, that was probably his last match, you know?
Yeah. Because at 60 years old,
and to be serious and honest,
right?
Like, that match did not fucking have to happen for real. Yeah. Like, I swear to God, if you know your history with Yoshi Kanai and John Brzenk, they've already had up to that point a dozen fucking matches. So, like, this match was like jerking off Yoshi Kanai.
I do gotta get out of here, though, man. I do have to take off. I gotta go.
All right.
I'm being summoned here, my man. But yeah, no, good talk, man.
Appreciate you coming on for real, man.
Yeah,
you
likewise,
too,
man. It was good. It was good.
Let's see here.
Powerful.
All right, so I removed him. But yeah, what do you think, chat and ladies and gentlemen watching? Do y'all think John Brzenk's going to come back after his surgery and everything? I think he should stay. He should stay out. I mean, he should do like commentary, you know, and stuff like that. You know, do the Travis Bagent thing, you know, or maybe even refereeing. You know, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, because, like, you know, if you're a true arm wrestling fan, it's hard not to be a fan of the GOAT. We'd love the GOAT here, you know, for real. I know he's not on, but I really appreciate your time there, Matthias Bedard. You know, episode 16 was good. Unfortunately, I was not able to get on any of the points that I had. I did get on a few, but not all of them. But, you know, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Earnhardt experience is not tied to any or one subject. So when you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, some kind of a knowledge. I hope you're doing good in your life. I want you to do good in your life. You should do good in your life. I mean, we are pleasure seekers. We run away from pain. Understand the mind. Do your homework. You know. Hopefully, I can be in a position where I can be of use to some people. I don't mind helping or giving advice to people off my anecdotal or subjective experience and everything, what I've learned and what I have experienced. So thank y'all for watching. If you want to follow me, here you go. But my mainstay is my YouTube channel. I really am not a Instagram or TikTok person, but I do have accounts on there. I have footage on there and stuff. So yeah. Thank y'all again for your support, your love. I want to shout out to David Kotlow for sponsoring my channel and blowing my channel up, and even the episodes or shorts of my channel. So shout out to him. And y'all take care.